And you know, you're in a spot where you've got to say, oh, come on, get out of here. You can't do anything. You are in spirit, and you know we can get rid of you.
But it's not a demonic possession.
No, it's not demonic. She actually loves the little, you know, the girl, my client.
Is she affected by demons? The spirit, the mother?
No, I think the mother is just, well, the mother has a hatred for the girl's mother.
Yeah, but hatred attracts demons. That's what I'm saying. Maybe behind the mother there are...
Well, there may be something to that effect.
You won't be able to release the mother unless you release the demons first.
Well, I worked, the last session, Tara and I worked together with her. And Tara does what you call a life force. She just really goes in and she works on the person's life force. And we thought we were doing just great, and she's back again before it's over. And so, and you know, this is not done, but we are going to move forward. And I tried to get her in touch with Patty, and she just didn't want to, my client didn't want to work over the phone on something this heavy. So that's where we are now, except this woman came after Tara in the middle of the night the other night, about 3 nights ago. And it just incensed Tara. She just said, you have picked the wrong person to come after. And so Tara called in an entity that she works with that is really highly involved. I mean, it's kind of questionable. I don't know about him, but Ramses II. And they've been working together for quite a little while. And he healed her. Tara was having some real issues with her side that probably go back to when she was a little girl and just a baby, and she was operated on at just a few weeks old. And they probably kinked up something in her intestines, in her side, and she is having a lot of problems surface with it today. And so in working with Ramses, he ended up helping her. And so she now feels okay about calling him in. And we were having, probably 6 months ago, I have a column I wrote on this, if anybody wants to look at that column. We were at Spurzo's, a restaurant right down on the beach, very close by the house. And she says, your eyes are Sanpaku, Richard, with a little bit of white underneath the pupils, which always shows if you're stressed. You know, anytime you have white under the eye, why, that's a sign of real stress. And I was stressed at the time. I was dealing with about 6 things at once and really tight deadlines and some pressure. And she said, well, I just, you know, just be quiet for a few moments and let me deal with it. And so she said, I've been dealing with this guy and he's really good. But she said, you know, I'm glad you aren't seeing, because I don't see the way she does. Because she says it's like almost out of the Mummy movies, because when he comes in, it's just like, and it's like the Mummy. But he's helping her. And so I just sat there and closed my eyes mostly, and she's doing a process on me. And it's Ramses II that she's doing a process with. And then she turned to the side and and the smoke poured out of her mouth. And I mean, like she had a huge puff of cigarette smoke and it just poured out. And I said, do you realize, well, honey, do you realize what you just did? And she just, no. I said, were your eyes open? No. But she had exhaled this huge amount of smoke somehow. I don't know how it all tied in, but damn, you know, it got my attention times 10.
Did it smell like cigarette smoke? Or?
No, there was no smell to it at all. And we were at a close little table, you know, apart. So
in my paper, the subject who saw demons, she smelled smoke. When the demons came near, the ones that were behind the ones that were with her,
Yeah.
more demons when they
Yeah.
came, she smelled smoke.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, Tara, the other night, when this damn woman was there harassing her, working on her in the night, she called in Ramsey's again, and she, like sick him. Like she's sicking the dog on him. And he got really, real weird, and he just supposedly froze her. She said, I don't know what he did to her, but he did something. And as a result, why, I don't know, because my client is now in India for a while.
But have you released the spirit or not?
Well, destroyed is more likely. What Ramses did, I don't know. Sheila said he just froze her. She said it was the weirdest thing I ever saw, and then I didn't want to watch.
Maybe he's just hiding. You've got to make sure.
Well, but yeah.
Why don't you follow Bill's method?
We talked to me about Bill's method.
Didn't you read my paper? I followed.
Yeah, I did, but that was weeks ago.
Oh.
I have it right here.
Yesterday.
Well, it could have come in handy.
Yeah. So no, it's kind of interesting. She wanted to take this on. She said, let me at her.
So Tara hasn't had any other issues with the...
No, she hadn't had any issues with him, but the client's gone, so I don't know if she's got problems right now with the woman still. So it's interesting. But once in a while, you can end up with things like this, and none of us want to deal with this sort of shit, except Isabel.
I did like 3 cases a week like that.
Yeah. Anyway, that's been my most interesting one. I've got a woman right now, she's part of high profile in the entertainment industry. She's got god-awful pain. That was the case just before I left. Horrible pain. She's in the hospital all the time, and they do everything they can. And so I just so hope that she'd be a good hypnosis subject, and she's not. We didn't get anywhere in exploring, I didn't even get close to exploring past lives, because she's got a terrible fear of it. So what she's doing, she says, I can't look at what I've done. I just can't look at it. So can't we heal this another way? Can't I forgive without knowing what I'm forgiving for? So she signed up for 6 sessions, and I can't override it. She does not want to be regressed, to look at her past. So obviously she's got a great deal of fear in there. So I've got to work on it with teaching her hypnosis and clinically. We'll work clinically, and I don't know how to get around that unless she slips into it naturally, which you had happened, so.
What about just exploring this past regress into this life as a trust-building exercise?
That might be a good idea. We just had the introductory session on Wednesday, and so I'll try everything and anything right now, because I would really like to help her. Because, oh man, I feel so grateful for my life when I see some of the clients that come to me and realize what they're going through. And you really do. Here's an announcement, I'm just going to leave it up here. Fox TV is announcing a new show that's going to be on this season. It's called Past Life. And so they are making past life regressionists heroes. So it might be a great time for everybody here, myself included, to really be promoting. Because if they are going to get out to millions of people, and these guys are finding out through regression what's going on, and then they're investigating it, and that's what the show is about, that investigating whether or not,
Because it was funny with my back to the cause person, the one that was really cool, I was
Right.
scripting it for homework.
Yeah,
And I had to stop because we had to go meet people for dinner. And I went, I'm like in the middle of a movie right here.
yeah,
I literally said, this woman's past life is a movie. It would make a better movie than half the movies out there. And I said,
interesting,
I
yeah.
told her, you need to go do this. And she
Yeah.
goes, well, we're gonna write the other chapters because she's gonna come back for more past life sessions and she's gonna build the chapters of it. So I'm
Good.
like, cool. I go, give me some money. So,
It is. We are paid pretty well to be a participant in a movie. I feel like an armchair,
Yeah.
adventure. I'm living a new story every time we do it.
yeah. And
So-
actually with this hypnosis experience and knowledge from your training, is I realized that I had a client probably a year and a half ago with Reiki, that
Right.
she was journeying, because she said before the session, she goes, I want to write a book, and I want to write it about my life, and what has
Right.
happened in her life. And she
Right.
goes, but my husband and my children just drain me, so I don't have any time to set aside to write this book. And she's not a writer, but she wants to do this, and she has songs and poetry that she stepped away. So on the Reiki table, doesn't she see this little Indian girl and sees this little journey? And when she comes out, I said, when we finished with the Reiki session, I said, you know what? I said, I think you should write a children's book, because she saw this little Native American Indian girl. And long story short, when she came back for her second session, she journeyed again, so she's getting more storyline. But from that
Yeah.
first Reiki session, she went home that weekend and pounded out 11-chapter children's book
Oh,
that she hasn't done anything with about it, but she wanted. And I said to her after her second session, I said, you know what? I think you're writing about yourself. And that was before I had any hypnosis training. So now as I look back, I think she was journeying and she was writing about herself.
sure.
And so it's like, come on, get this book
It makes it
finished.
just easy.
Yeah, yeah, because she kept, each time on the Reiki table, she added more of the story to it, so. And she always said.
She
wanted
just
to-
needs you there doing Reiki while she writes.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
she was regressing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, pretty cool.
Well, I know I had a Reiki session last week, and my friend Bliss Wood, and she always says all these amazing things come through that people talk about on past lives, this life, memories, hidden memories.
Because that one client with the headdress, I said, when I was giving her a Reiki session, I saw a headdress on her, and I said it post-comment, and she went, and she goes, I see this vision all the time.
Oh,
So I have seen during the Reiki session, and she said that is a vision she sees. And
Yeah.
then we did the regression work, which
Yeah.
explained it all.
yeah,
And she can release worry, because hers was about worrying, and she can
Yeah.
release it in this lifetime, because it dealt with the other life. So it's also cool. See, I would be into all the past life stuff.
Uh-huh.
Clinical's okay, but the past life. And I actually want to ask you a question about weight loss. I know that's clinical, but is there value, it makes sense to me that there's value to do past life regression
Oh, yes.
of weight loss first,
I
before you
always
even
do.
start with clinical?
I always do.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a guideline to tell us? Because I've had so many people say, oh, I want weight loss, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready to go there.
Yeah.
What would you advise around that?
Well, I would go back to the cause first. And my experience is almost always, we'll find it in a past life. Now, it may fall into basic patterns. In other words, they may have starved to death in a past life, and they come back this time, and they're carrying that fear over again, and so, boom, they're eating and eating and eating, overeating. But it'll be all sorts of different things. I probably told you the story about the girl who was 300 pounds, an Atlanta case history I worked on. And she was 300 pounds, and I said, well, let's go back to the cause. Let's see where this came from. And she saw herself at a time of revolution in Europe, probably France, I'm sure it was France. And she was living quite well. She was a teenage girl. She had a younger brother. She had parents that she loved very much, but one day the soldiers came and knocked on the door, and they took her away. and imprisoned her. The whole family was imprisoned because they were of the bourgeois class. And so in prison, she was molested, she was raped, she was taunted, and then eventually she was guillotined. So she died. And she came up, and I'm seeking to put the pieces together, and she said, I was so pretty and they killed me. If you want to be safe, never be pretty. And it's not that she wasn't pretty, she was a really attractive, very pretty girl. But she was young and she was 300 pounds. And so if you want to be safe, so that is one of the first places I will look in trying to find the cause, if we're not finding it, relating to starving to death or something like that. It's a hide. I always feel real extreme overweight is a hide. Now, not that people can't have glandular problems and all sorts of things, but still, I contend the roots of that problem will go back to another lifetime. And so, all of a sudden, maybe, boom, I have a good friend right now, and she says, this is ridiculous. What do I do? I am gaining weight at just a horrible rate. And I'm going to the doctor, and I'm trying to find out if it's glandular or what I'm dealing with. And it will be something probably that the doctor's going to be able to say, this is the cause, but that won't really be the cause. And so one of my cases that Raymond Mooney actually took, he didn't even get permission, but is in his book where it comes from Past Lives Therapy in Action, a book I wrote with Lauren Lee Taylor, who was a good friend, and we trained together a lot, and she's now in spirit. And it was about how she was part of the Donner Party, if you care to believe it, and they're going over the mountains in the snow, and they're snowed in. They can't get over the mountains to get to California. And so the only way to survive, as people died, they ate them. And so she's carrying that. She knows that even as a young girl, she was only 5 or 6, but she knows she ate her grandpa, and cannot live with the idea that she did that. So in this life, she felt terribly guilty probably all of her life. In the past life, she died feeling guilty. Well, boy, that's good. You die feeling guilty about something, you're going to carry it right back in. As I think I stressed last time a lot in the first 2 sessions, that guilt carries over like nothing else. So this lifetime, she quite literally can eat nothing and she gains weight. She's a breatharian almost, and she gains weight. So you've got those sort of, you have to look, in my mind, to the cause, to begin to easily resolve the weight.
So what would be your program if someone said, I want to lose weight? You're going to first do past life regression.
Yes, ma'am.
Back to the cause. And
Yes.
then would you go right to clinical then?
Once we know the cause, it's the same story. You know the cause, you release the effect. You forgive yourself and you forgive the other people involved. There should be a very intense forgiveness session, and usually will be tearful. And you get them to forgive themselves, forgive whoever else was involved. In this case, where the little girl ate her grandpa, she's got to forgive herself. In the case where the teenage girl was guillotined, she really needs to forgive the jailers and the guards and the guillotine, the man who lowered the guillotine, and the government, that makeshift government that had taken over. So it's different people, but there again, it goes back to what did you do to deserve this? So you have to forgive yourself. So you may have to take them back another step and to find out what they did that put them in the position that they are in. You know, you did something, you created karma, or you wouldn't be here dealing with this. And so I have sometimes taken people back several lifetimes to find out, you know, to clear the history, so to speak. So at that point, I know the cause and I release the effect. I forgive myself. I forgive the other people involved, and thus I set myself free. Now you're ready for an intelligent program to lose weight. And now again, you can go out there, I invite you to go out on the web, and you can download in my site that book. It's not really a book, but it's how to release everything, or how to solve all the problems in your life in one. It's all of our 25 best weight script, and losing weight is one of those scripts. And it looks at about 18 different issues, primary issues that people have. So I always print out the part about losing weight, because it talks about little tips. You know, eat this kind of a diet while you're trying to lose weight. Do this, do this, do this. So I give them a printout of that script. And I always leave them with a tape or CD. And I ask, and I do clinical right there in the session as well. I just go to a clinical script, so to speak. I don't have it printed out, it's just in my head. Where I give them a lot of suggestions. And then the session is really complete. You know the cause, you release the effect. I leave them with the programming of that mudra. And any time you feel you need the extra strength, the self-discipline, the ability to resist food, bring your index finger and thumb and you say, I know the cause and I release the effect. I forgive myself, I forgive the other people, and thus I set myself free. So they are left with a mudra, a suggestion, and a mantra where they can just chant that. I know the cause and I release the effect. Then they've got this technique. I've left them with a clinical, oftentimes I will actually wake them up. And if we've got the time to do all this, now we're talking about really a 2-hour, a 3-hour session ideally. And I will record for them another weight loss suggestion specifically around their needs.
Okay.
And so you've really given them one hell of a program and sent them on their way without need of coming back. Now if you want more clients, maybe you have them come back and you do the tape next, a CD next time, and you keep reinforcing it for probably 3-4 sessions.
3 or 4 clinicals.
Yeah. But you're always reminding them, you've got the technique, you've got the awareness.
Well, I had a client who did have a lot of guilt, obviously, because he keeps sabotaging his life.
Yeah.
But he couldn't see a past life. I did bring him in contact with his guide, and his guide wouldn't tell him. And what I understood was that he wasn't ready to face what he had done. Not in so many words, but he said that himself under hypnosis. So it was better for him not to know what he did than to know. So what do you do with a client like that?
Well, then you're going to be stuck with the last steps that I just described
Yeah,
here.
well, I did that, but
And
he's
then-
better now. At least now he can work.
Yeah, okay,
But that's it. He still has depression
yeah.
now and then.
Well, of course, now you were dealing with depression too, right?
Me, myself?
No, your client. Yeah, you were dealing with
Yeah,
depression.
there are days that he feels down.
Yeah, and if it was in regard to depression and the need to lose weight, chances are you're going to find something in the past. Not chances are, you absolutely are going to find something in the past where they feel guilty. They will feel guilty about what they did.
Even his guide was very harsh with him.
Yeah.
He told him, you never learn, you keep doing the same things, and he turned his back at him. He wouldn't
Okay.
speak to him anymore. He
Okay.
told him, this is your last chance.
Oh my God, it's not his last chance.
Well, no, but
We
he wanted
are-
to make a point. He wanted to make a point, I think. The guide said that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So then I told the client when he came out of it, I think he wanted to make a point to sharpen up.
I think so too. And on that note, we are taking a break.